Hey, and great evening to Jono's Late Chat Show. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all doing awesome. Haven't been online. Feels like I haven't been online for a while, but I haven't been doing Facebook Lives this last few days. Just been feeling a bit meh and been getting on with a few projects. Tonight, I don't have a late guest show. It's just going to be me solo onto my late chat show, and I feel like tonight's going to be more about reflection and also how I've been building confidence since being made redundant, made furlough and then made redundant. Same thing, really. And just going to reflect through the last 6 months, I think, how the journey has been so far, how I've coped, what the transition has been like to work for yourself, or at least try and keep yourself above water whilst working on your projects / not being fully employed as such, which has been interesting. And it's been a tricky few months, not gonna lie. It's not been easy. There's times where I do struggle to sleep early, but I do get good quality sleep. I have been tracking my sleeping, and I do get a good 60 to 80% quality sleeping, which is good. So at least my sleep isn't affected, but my sleeping times is. I suppose it's because I don't have this whole 9 to 5 routine where you have to be in the office or signed on to the computer at a certain time, and that structure isn't in my hasn't forced me to be somewhere at 9 o'clock. So therefore, my whole going to gym at 6 o'clock in the morning routine has kind of changed. That doesn't really happen until I get out. So yeah, and then working late, right? Since I start late, I work till late. So therefore, my hours have kind of shifted. And it's been weird, I suppose. It's been back to my unhealthy routine, I would say. Is it unhealthy? I don't know. It works for me, that's the thing. I still end up being productive, I still get things done. And it's not like I'm missing out on not doing any work. So it's been funny it's been funny. It's been weird. But I hope you're well. Any questions about business, websites, automation, digital transformation, whatnot, saving time? I suppose that's probably one of the big things that I've been working on, is how to help more people get their time back through different methods, different digital marketing, through automation, through coaching, through transformations. So yeah, it's been a weird few months, must say. I'm sure it has for everyone else. And generally, I suppose I keep saying everything is awesome, but under the current circumstances, it's not really awesome, because I don't get to see a lot of close friends, you get to see family, and I'm sure that's the same for everyone else. And there's no point dwelling on that, because everyone's in the same boat. We all do what we can with what we have and move on with it, I suppose. That's the best way I could say this, really. But it's not been easy. It's definitely not been easy. So I just want to reflect over the last 6 months. I suppose what's come out of it for me is more about the podcast. I've been able to interview a lot of my inspired mentors as such on my podcast, or people that inspire me anyway, and help me and inspire me to step up, to show up, to keep staying up. And that's what's been driving me, I suppose. It's podcast, and also this community that's helping me and supporting me in my channel and my late chat show. This has been a big booster for me, this late chat show, because it's been something that I wanted to have my own chat show as such. Being able to help others along the way has always been my thing, and being able to show up on a consistent basis also helps. I suppose Wednesdays may change. The format may change. I may not have guests on Wednesdays anymore. And I may do gaming streams instead on Wednesdays evenings. Hey Andrea, hey Ian, great to see you both. Hey man, I'm about to launch a direct to consumer service. We have a corporate site. Is it best to do a page on the corporate site and point people towards it, or have its own standalone site? I would say have a standalone site, but it doesn't stop you from having a corporate site to point towards it as well. So you can have one corporate site and point towards it, but also have the site on its own. It's just more other ways of driving traffic towards it. Like if you're a big group, a big company, then you could divert them into different sections and different websites, and that's always a good way. If your domain's already healthy, it's already have the authority, then have it point towards it, but also have its own standalone site as well. I suppose when you have its own standalone site, you have more flexibility about changes and features, and if you want to make additional additions like e-commerce and stuff like that, if you are using it for that, it wouldn't slow down the main site. I suppose it depends on what you're having on that website. But yeah, I'm going to put some music on as well, because just have something in the background to keep me going. But yeah, it's been exciting, it's been strange, it's been weird, and it's made me reflect more about what I want to do, what I really want to build. I've been debating a lot about building a digital agency, and for some reason agencies seems to have a lot of bad name because of the high costs of agencies to get things done. I'm not saying this is for every agency, because every agency is different, but the general perception of agencies is that they're very high cost. And for someone that wants to help small businesses, I don't want to give off that perspective and that vibe to people. So what I'm looking to build or create in my business, at least my offers anyway, is more of a digital account management, or like a digital account manager. So the dedicated go-to person for anything digital strategy, social media, paid ads, and anything for e-commerce, online sales, lead generation, everything online basically, and have a account manager that takes care of all the copywriting, the PR. So in such, it's more like a digital account manager that is an agency. Excuse me, but not an agency. I don't know. I'm still playing around with the idea, and it's been a tricky one for me. Because the thing is, there's only one of me, and as much as I love to do all the website building, the copywriting, email marketing, social media, there's no chance for one person to do all of that. Digital marketing, it's a team game. You need a team of at least, healthily, for digital marketing, depending on the company size. Even for small businesses, between two to three, or at least 2 to 4 people. Bigger organizations generally have about 5 to 10, or at least SMEs do. And then if you're bigger than SMEs, corporates, then you're looking at like 10 to 15 people. I suppose it also depends on what you have and what you're creating for content and marketing as well. But generally, and also if it's a high performance team, high performers, or at least high performance teams, you probably get away with less people because they probably do like 3 or 4 people's jobs, which is exceptional. And some of them may be full stack marketers like myself that have all range of skills and be able to just shift between projects, form a team and launch it. Agree, Fiza, with each. Yeah, I have a team of people already in copywriting, PR, and also website builders as well. But still, it's like it still becomes like an agency fee, as such, because by the time they have their fees and I have my fees, you're pretty much paying for an agency. So I don't know where I want to go with it. So I'm still working on it, and I'm really looking at where small business owners have more struggle with as well, where they would like to get their time back. Because the thing I see with small business owners is they try and do everything themselves because they want to save cost. But then at saving costs, where are they sacrificing their time? If they are spending their time learning how to do run their 5-day challenge or how to build funnels, should they not be going out closing business and generating sales for themselves instead? And generally, I did learn this as well from Dino, one is that people would prefer to chase shiny objects or learn something new to avoid doing something else. So generally, small business owners, coaches, speakers, professionals, like they would prefer to do websites, updates, and building landing pages or funnels and stuff because they don't want to go out and pitch to clients. They don't want to generate leads. They don't want to have the sales calls, and which is what I want to help business owners get away from, is become better business owners and better decision makers. But then again, they need to obviously pay for teams or people to do that kind of work for them. And if they're trying to save costs, it doesn't really save costs. But then there's the chicken or egg thing, right? They're either generating sales, closing deals for themselves, or actually fulfilling services for their clients, or they are spending time avoiding it, doing something else. So I'm working out on an offer where they can give me an hour and then I need to give them 2 or 3 hours back. So it's like an ATM deposit that compounds their time. Where if they give me 2 hours, I give them 4 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours back. But I still need to work out how that works for now. It's still on my mind in development stages, which is why I thought having a chat, discussion, and just brain dumping, as always, on here would help, because I always seem to crystallize at least more clarity when I'm speaking my thoughts instead of writing it. Generally, writing down doesn't really help me get clarity from my thoughts. Speaking does. So these late chat shows, the interviews, they all help formalize my brain and my thoughts and my intuition. Because I did come across a few things last night, like how can I get people more time through digital transformation, digital automation? How can I help people claw back their time so that they can spend their time with their family, with their social network, or they're going out or doing things they love or looking after themselves? Like, where could they spend the hour or 2 hours instead of building funnels or building automations where they have to learn new things and take longer than they need to on tasks that would take someone else half an hour, 20 minutes or so. So I've been brainstorming and just, I suppose, formalizing an offer where I could help people with, and also what the process would look like. Like, where can I use this 10 years of digital marketing experience and help people claw back their time? I've been doing this for businesses for many years. Now I need to just make it smaller or make it work for individuals and smaller businesses. Thing is, just been helping businesses and corporate organizations make 6-7 figures online. How can I help smaller businesses owners claw back their time and also generate additional sales? It's been interesting. It's been a lot of planning, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of writing and everything. But I think building back up confidence is something that I've been lacking lately. Maybe it's the environment. Maybe it's just not having a team around me where I could bounce ideas off, and having I suppose people to keep me accountable. I suppose that's what my Facebook groups are for, right? But it's not the same as when you're in the office. You kind of get the different vibe, different energy. And I suppose the environment doesn't help when you're just working from home by yourself. So the transition has been something that I need to have been adapting to, but also building confidence somewhere else. So it's been weird. And also, I'm very groggy throat tonight. One sec. Difficult, man. Especially for small business. In the early days, owners do everything themselves, at least try to. However, I think you have something power. Just need to be price sensitive about becoming a commodity. Yeah, that's definitely true. Thing is, I would love to help business owners, but also, obviously, pricing and fees would be something that I have to be mindful of as well, especially during the difficult challenges that we're facing now, right? For small business owners. So it's finding out what pain they're really having with their time. And even if it is like writing up emails or coming up with special offers for their products and services, or maybe it's just scheduling content. I don't know. But even scheduling content, there's so many like people with VAs and stuff that do that kind of already. So it wouldn't make sense just to have a digital account manager to manage social content for them if they could just get VA to do so, which is much more cost effective. But yeah, it's been. I'm sure I'll figure out something out. I'm very close to it. Anyway, I think I just need to test out a few things. And such building confidence. Anyway, that's something that I wanted to speak about was building confidence. How I've been building confidence, I suppose, has been interviewing much more higher level people than me, or at least doing more things than I am. No. One sec. Oh, really struggling today with my throat. How I've been building confidence with online presentations. There's a mix between online Toastmasters, which now everyone is now moved online. With public speaking, we are now learning how to present in front of the camera instead of presenting to people. I suppose that's one way of practicing speaking and practicing eliminating the ums and ahs that we generally have in our speeches and when we're speaking, especially when we are doing interviews. Some of you may have noticed or may not notice that there's less and ahs in my speeches or in my talks or in my interviews during podcasts. Just removing the ums and ahs make the conversations much more smoother and the message much more clearer, and therefore your points land more effectively. That's something I definitely picked up from with the whole online Toastmasters or public speaking in general. It's just being able to pause when you get asked questions or difficult questions. It's very easy, and I have seen this many, many times. Even the guests that I have on my podcast, there's a lot of before they actually go towards and answer the question. And I noticed this in my very first interviews as well, where I just did a lot of ums and ahs. And it's very easy to have those because we want to fill the void and we don't want to have blank, empty pauses where nothing's happening. For some reason, we just don't want void. And it's very easy, even for late chat shows like this, where I'm just talking to you guys on here. I just want to fill the void. I don't want it to be quiet, all right? So it feels like you need to have some sort of filler word or filler noise during that period when you're thinking. And it's a difficult habit to get out of, but once you've practiced enough times and taking that time to just pause and construct your views and your points more effectively, that goes a much longer way than doing ums and ahs during the thinking phase of crafting your speech or whatever you want to say in an interview, in a talk. And that has been helpful. That has helped me build more confidence as well. And just being able to speak with, to speak with international keynote speakers, authors, and public speakers, especially that I've been able to interview during the podcast, is that the communication is very clear, it's very smooth. There's the transitions during questions and answers is very fluid, and you don't get much filler ums and ahs, and that really helps you become I suppose, a better speaker, or at least much more confident in your own speaking abilities to craft up points and answers. For me, it has anyway. That's my personal experience. I don't know what it has been for you as well. And feel free to share as well, and make this more of a conversation than just me blabbering out my personal experience. This is what worked for me and what has been working for me. And it's been something that I've been working on and been practicing on. And just learning from other speakers, other podcast hosts as well. A lot of podcast hosts that I have worked with has been very great at communication, and the way they ask questions, just very, very to the point. And they don't mess around with beating around the bush as well. They like to be direct, which is something that I've been learning as well as of late. Just quick fire questions as well. Sometimes they just like to just cut in and be more assertive in what point they want to get out of the speaker, out of the guest. And that's something I've been working on with as well, with is just getting straight to the point, because I'm very easily distracted by myself and my own thoughts, and I do go off tangents and I go off points, which is probably why a lot of my videos are much more longer than they need to be. But because I craft up the videos, just happen on the live as spontaneous. So it's not like something I prepared for. I haven't sat down and wrote and scripted out what I want to say. It's literally me just piecing things together as I go on. And that for me has been able to help me think on my feet, speed up my thinking process, and being able to just come up with my own thoughts, I suppose. Have more clarity in my thoughts. Like now I'm overthinking, and then I go into this in my own little bubble world. So feel free to any other experiences that you think that has helped you in building confidence or struggled with, feel free to ping across as well, because during this lockdown, not being able to interact and meet new people has been a challenge. And I used to enjoy the whole meeting real people at events, because it pushes me to be out of my comfort zone. And also it's pushed me to be more out of my comfort zone, where I actually go out and obviously connect with people. I suppose this is one thing that I mentioned last time, was it's been so long since I connected with people. I kind of forgot how it was like to just be with people. It's funny because last 2 weeks ago, I think I met up with a few committee members in a hotel, and we were doing a live meeting, and there's about 6 or 7 of us. And it's been must be like 7 months, 8 months since I've been able to mingle with a group of people. So I was like, it feels weird to connect with people again and look people in the eyes when you're speaking to them and when you're listening to them and you're really trying to be present, because you're no longer just speaking to the camera that we've been doing for the last 7-8 months. Now it's actually being with people in the real environment. And it's like, wow, I forgot how to people. Sounds weird, but it generally feels like I forgot how to be with people anymore. And it was such a weird experience again. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but For an introverted person like me, I loved pushing myself beyond my comfort zone to meet new people and to connect with new people, because it helps me grow. It helps me be more comfortable with the uncomfortable butterflies that we all have. And it's generally something that helps me grow as an individual, but also as a speaker, as a coach, as a strategist, as a trainer. It just helps with confidence. The more you do it, the more better and easier it is being able to get up and stand up and speak to people. This, no matter what the title of people you speak to. I suppose that's another thing with the podcast interviews has helped me with as well, as breaking out to be able to speak with people who are CEOs, business owners, high level manager executives and things like that. Just being able to just treat them like normal people. Because the thing is, I think we hold so much emphasis on titles that we forget that these CEOs, high level executives, managers, and also they're just normal people too. They've just have worked their way up towards that title. And they may have different responsibilities. At the end of the day, they are still people. They are still human. They still go through the same challenges the rest of us do, just a bit differently. They just have different strategies and different structures in place to help them manage better or more effectively anyway. Ian, mate, I think I read that somewhere. Jerry Seinfeld did stand-up comedy every night for 1 year, and it took 5 years to hone his speaking confidence and get spotted. Yeah, that's it. It building confidence, comedy. Is it comedy? Yeah, stand-up for every night. Comedy is definitely a different level game. I know a few comedy speakers, and their confidence level are just bulletproof. Like, you have to be if you're doing comedy. Like, if you're trying to make people laugh and they don't laugh, it's like, shit. I still have not got the balls to do stand-up comedy yet. I suppose that's something that will probably have to push myself to do and see how far I could get with stand-up comedies, because again, like, I don't think I'm funny. I don't think I'm a funny person. I don't think I make people laugh. I think I'm too serious to be funny. That's the thing. But that could be my voice, my little voice holding me back, right? And just be like, nope, that's too scary. That's too fearful. You don't want to do that. You might get killed. It's like, who knows? But stand-up comedy is definitely something to challenge yourself with. Or at least it is on my list to challenge myself on with as well. Just to hone my skills as well as a speaker. Come over to LA. I'll take you to the Improved Comedy Store. Ian, I'll definitely be flying over at some point, just soon. I'll let you get settled with your baby first. It will probably be back another year or two before we actually probably get to fly safely, or anyway. Yeah, so building confidence has been... that's how I've been able to build confidence. Also, the late chat shows like this has helped. Being able to just sit here and stream and chat and come up with content, because I generally don't have a script and I don't have anything planned out and be like, tonight, this is what we're talking about. It's literally, I'm just reflecting currently about what's happened the last few months, how I've coped with, how I've coped. Mental health seems to be a very big discussion over the last few months, because we're now all cooped up in our house by ourselves or with our little bubble, whatever it is. We're not seeing people, we're not connecting with people, we're not socializing, we're not being able to go out. And even one of my favorite things to do was like going to cinema by myself, right? To have my own me time where I just get to disconnect from the world and just be all in with the film. That has now gone. And you say, oh, you could just watch films on Netflix and stuff, but like, it's not the same because you're still you could get easily distracted to be like, pick up your phone and check your text while you're watching something, instead of just being all in a cinema where you're just being fully present. Because when I get to the cinema, when I'm watching films, yes, during the trailers and stuff, I'm flicking through the phone and just waiting for it to go by until the film starts. But when the film does start, I put my phone away and I'm fully present with the film. But not being able to do that at home, because yes, you could put your phone away, but would you? Do you really? When you're at home, it's just comfort zone, right? You're just playing with your phone while you're watching something, and you're not very fully engaged. So, and then also the environment is not the same. Like the drive to the cinema, and that, the whole process of just being able to just go out and change your scenery as well, that helps. And so mental health was getting tough. I can't lie about that one, because it felt like I wasn't really able to, especially, how should I put it? Sometimes I feel like whatever I'm doing isn't making much difference, right? I feel like sometimes I'm just hitting a brick wall. I'm trying to do the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. I suppose I was going in that loop, and I was going in that cycle, and I was going in this vicious cycle of be like, is anyone actually listening to a podcast? Does anyone actually watch the late chat shows? Does anyone actually engage with my content that I put out, or at least find my content useful? As funny as the memes are great. I put on my morning timeline whenever I share memes. But whenever I put out content for help people with digital marketing, digital transformation, or general self-awareness, those posts are usually the quietest. Like I get one or two people like Ian that would support my post. And like no one else would care about that post, and they'd be like, I thought there was a pretty good post. Like I thought it'd be pretty useful. But because it's too service level still, maybe I should go a bit more in depth with the subject. And that's something I'm going to toy around with as well next, is going more in depth with my content in each area instead of just skimming through the surface, because it seems a lot of people are just skimming through the surface content and they don't seem to engage with that because they feel like they know it, but they aren't doing anything about it. Which, to me, is a big problem. Like, if you know the content and you're not doing anything about it, then do you really know the content? And that for me has been there you go. This is a self-awareness thing for me. Yeah, if people know the content already, I mentioned this to someone else. I can't remember who I had this conversation with about, if you know it already, if you know something already, but you haven't implemented it into your life, do you really know it? And this goes with the whole personal development industry. Like, we learn all these different strategies, different techniques, different processes, different strategies, lead generation strategies, sales strategies. But if we don't practice it, we don't implement it into our lives, do we actually know it? Like with the whole sales consultations, like there's that I've been learning with the whole 5-step process. Like I know for a fact that in my sales consultation process, I probably still miss out 1 or 2 things or 3 or 4 things. It's still not something that I've been used to because I've not been generally the salesperson. So having sales consultation conversations doesn't come natural to me. And so I've been working on building that and learning the techniques with what to listen out for, what questions I should be asking, and following that process hasn't been something that I've been comfortable with. It's like telling, it's easy for me to build a website than it is for me to have a sales conversation. Which sounds weird to some people, right? Like if you ask me to build your website, I could probably set you up something within the next 5 to 6 hours. I could set you something up quickly. Maybe less than an hour, maybe less than a few hours if you have everything set up already. But either way, it takes me 1 or 2 hours to set something up. But having a sales conversation, I'd be like, where do I start? Or what? Yeah, sales conversations just doesn't come natural to me. And again, that's practice. Same with speaking, same with, I suppose the same with running businesses. Like if you have a structure, you have processes in place, you have systems that you follow. And the more you do it, the more easier it gets, right? I suppose that's very same for most business owners, is that they're great at what they do. But when it comes to management on accounting, marketing, sales, customer service, and all sorts of different things that I have to think about. Yeah, team management, leadership, strategizing. It's a complete different ballgame. I think earlier I saw the whole thing about Tom Cruise blasting his AV team or his setup, some of his team in his filming for Mission Impossible, that they were too close together and they wasn't adhering to the COVID rules, and it could have a massive impact on his set on recording Mission Impossible. And that's just standards, right? He's setting standards for people to what to look at. And because there's so many other big names that are watching how he's doing his film sets, how he's coordinating, how his producers are working, how his film crew is behaving, how they all set up for COVID adherence policies to keep filming. Like Tom Cruise has to be on the ball. He has to be learning how to be a leader, how to be the facilitator, as well as the actor, as well as the all sorts, right? And because he's put his name on the line, it's his, I suppose Mission Impossible is his franchise, right? As well as Warner Brothers and whatnot, Universal Studios, I can't remember, whatever, all the big guys, studio things. But he's setting a standard, right? He's setting a standard that a lot of people have their eyes looking at him, how he is doing things. So if his team screws it up, that's his name, but also the whole set gets put into danger, right? Everyone gets, all their work gets scrapped overnight, pretty much overnight, because of 2 people or a few people, a very minority of people not following rules. I suppose that's also Tom Cruise's role, right? Because he's not just an actor, he's a producer, he's a director, he's the funder, he's the, I don't know, everything. I suppose that's same goes with business owners. Anyone with mission-based purpose. I suppose it's bigger than just money. At the end of the day, it's not like Tom Cruise needs to work or act anymore, but he's doing it because he wants to create more franchise things for people to watch on Mission Impossible. He's setting a standard as well for the industry. That's another thing. He's setting a standard. He wants to set a blueprint for the industry to follow in acting and filming, so that people could start work again. People could start filming again. People could go out and start making movies again. People can start filming dramas again. People could start going back into, they're the hardest hit as well, people, just because, the whole, the industry's been so decimated, like what Ian says. Production piece, no support from government. Yeah, exactly. He's backing the industry, like he's setting a standard for people to follow, so that if they follow that blueprint that he set up, or at least that standard, and it's adherent to the COVID rules and whatnot for filming, then everyone can go back and start filming, keep filming, have their work back again, and actually create more work for other people, like musicians, for movies and production and all sorts, voice acting, and a lot of people. And that purpose of being able to create something for others is not just about himself, not just about the franchise, but the whole industry as a standard, I suppose. And that's something that's really big. And that goes, this now is ringing some more a bit. I was listening to a podcast earlier with Joe Wicks and Stephen Bartlett from Social Chain. Joe Wicks and Stephen was touching upon the whole legacy thing, like how Joe Wicks has built his online following from, one person from his course to 10 people to 5 people to 10 people to 15, and then hundreds, and then over the course of the last 8 years or so, that the body coach for Joe Wicks. And last year, before the lockdown, he had another interview with Stephen, another conversation that they talked about that Joe set. He's been an established brand and stuff, and Stephen asked him what was his next legacy or purpose was to be, and Joe said it was to go around schools like Jamie Oliver's did, like how Jamie Oliver went to schools and set a standard for healthy food for kids at schools. And so Joe Wicks wanted to emulate that and do something for PE and health and fitness for schools, for kids. And his goal was something like reach thousands of people around the country or in UK for schools to have a little documentary like Jamie Oliver did. And I think he had people like BBC, Channel 4 and stuff like that wanted to help him do his documentary, and he said, oh no, I'm gonna go with YouTube or something. I don't know what he did. But then the lockdown happened earlier this year, which prompted him to do Joe Wicks PE with Joe Wicks. And that had obviously his like 16, 18 million people, whoever it was, watching him do PE with him. Which was like, wow, he's made a massive impact to the whole world, or the whole. Yeah, it wasn't just UK. I think it was across the world. Like he's on YouTube. It was like people from India, people from Bangladesh, people from Asia, and things like that. I can't remember. He said it reached like global, right? YouTube obviously reaches global, worldwide audience, and P with Joe Wicks was a thing, obviously during lockdown, and helped everyone. I think Stephen asked him what was his purpose next. Like after impacting so many millions of people, and you have it all, or at least you have a lot of the things you want already. What would you want now? Like, and I think Joe, if I remember correctly, he said something about leaving like a legacy, where if there was to sell the Body Coach brand, it would still be like a legacy that lives on, instead of just being one of those, a generation thing, like it lasts forever or a long time at least, instead of just something that just happens and then disappears overnight. Things like Periscope, right? Periscope's disappearing after a few years with Twitter. So like he wants to create like some sort of legacy for people to follow, and I suppose that's something that I want to start thinking about as well. Is like, what can I leave behind if I was to create something? If I was to create a business that not just, I don't think I would ever want to create a business that I want to sell. That's the thing. And if he was to, like where am I going with this? Thing with Joe, he said now that he's done the whole, he keeps reminding himself about, because he's got humble beginnings, that he did just start from like 1 follower and 2 follower and building his personal brand organically. He doesn't really have the whole get rich quick overnight thing. He's still very humble in terms of it took him 8 years to get to where he is now. And it was a steady climb, and he built that. And he always goes back about saying creating weekly workouts free organic content for his followers to enjoy and to use for working out and keeping healthy and staying healthy. And he says it's not always about monetizing something. Like, it's not about making the pots and pans and jumping on TV and making a TV appearance and stuff like that. It's more about just making a difference in someone else's life. And I love how he keeps going back to the roots of why he does what he does. Like, he never set out to be the whole P with Joe million viewers person. Like, he genuinely wanted to just help people with health and fitness. And I suppose once you have that kind of heart, as many people that hate him already, I don't know, for whatever reason. I think Joe's a great guy, by the way. If you haven't listened to his latest podcast with Stephen Bartlett, do check him out. Like, his upbringing was something that he mentioned in the interview as well, about he had a very traumatizing childhood with his parents, but yet he's become such a compassionate and empathic person, and become the person he is today, which is just amazing to just see and listen to as well. But yeah, some inspiration along the way that I've got, and being able to listen to other people's podcasts has been great to keep me going, I suppose, and keep me sane and learning on the go. People like Eddie Hearn, I suppose. Funny enough, some people were like, Eddie Hearn because he's born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But what people didn't know about Eddie Hearn was that before he jumped straight into his family's business, is that he went out to work for someone else for a few years and made things happen without his dad's help, which people don't know about and which people don't talk about as well, is how Eddie Hearn did start his career. He didn't just jump straight into family business. Yes, he had family backing and, I suppose, support or contacts to get through open doors and stuff like that. But he still had to work his way up. Like, even he had to go and study and make mistakes and learn his craft as such to become the person he is today. So it's always interesting just to hear some of these big guys or these big successful people talk about their stories and their journeys, and yeah, it's just no different, I suppose, in terms of what they've achieved, what they're being willing to achieve, what we can achieve, and what we can really do if we put our heart into it, and go back to really connecting with why do we do what we do. And that goes back to thinking, what am I creating right now during the time that I do have, and whilst I have the opportunity to do so, is things for me to think about. I don't want to just create courses where people just buy and don't do anything with. Like, people say, "Oh, Jono, why don't you have any online courses?" I was like, well, the thing is, online courses don't really work. Generally, half the time, people they do like half the work and they don't follow through. So it's like, what's the point? It's like, it doesn't bring transformation in people. Yes, they get to learn a few skills, they learn a few things, but YouTube is all over for that. Like, there's thousands of courses on Udemy and YouTube for any online marketing and digital marketing stuff that I could teach. So I'm generally not interested in teaching people that's already out there, that's freely available as well, but people still don't do anything with it. So, and sometimes I feel like, yeah, I could be just robbing myself of making money, but it's not just about making money. It's about making a difference and making a transformation in other people's lives. I don't want to become like the whole get rich quick mentors that I've previously worked with, and that I was chasing the shiny object syndrome and chasing that financial freedom dream that they were selling. I don't want to be that mentor. I don't want to be that coach. I don't want to be that person. As much as, people go, "Oh, but you can make a lot of money in that." I was like, just not interested. Wouldn't make me happy. That's the thing. Like, Joe Wick said that as well. He said, yes, he could go and make more pots and pans and more commercial merchandise for cooking and recipe books and stuff like that. But it doesn't change anyone. Like, it doesn't change anyone. It doesn't make a big difference in people's lives. Yes, they could pick up a book, they could learn a few recipes, but unless they follow through with it constantly, then yeah, maybe it would help them. But it's bringing about transformation. I think for me, it's about bringing transformational results. I love watching people grow, and just similar to how I've been watching one of my mentees, Kirsty, grow on her Twitch stream. Like 2 to 3 months ago, she wanted to quit streaming, and she is such a great streamer, but she wanted to quit streaming because she's been doing it she said she started streaming again in March, and then I think it was during August, September, she was reaching out for help and saying that she didn't want to stream anymore. And until I started coaching her 2 months ago, now she's blossoming. She's getting over, she has 1,000 followers, and she's generally more happy, much more happier now than she was 2 months ago. She's much more, I feel like she's much more herself now than she was last couple of months ago anyway, from when I met her. And yeah, I'd say I had a part to play in that, and she did do the work, but unless she did the work, she wouldn't be able to transform herself. And I feel like that's a great transformation that I've been able to witness. And I suppose coaching is something that I've just really enjoyed. So being able to put coaching into my offering, so I suppose it's something that I'm working out. I suppose transformation takes between 6 to 9 months, and in the services that I'm going to be offering, it's going to be about transformation. It's not going to be these 5-day challenge things, or I may do 5-day challenges to help people bring it into my world, but it's not going to be like, 21 days to transform or whatever it is people do, and then they go back to normal behaviors. It's like, I want long-term transformation in people, being able to put systems and structures into place where it would help them get more time, get more health, get more energy, get more life back into them. I suppose that's part of my own. I suppose that's my purpose and my mission. Whatever that may look like, I'm not sure, but we never know what's going to look like. At least just reminds me to keep putting my foot down on and get on with it, really. Instead of keep wondering what. It's just one day at a time, one step at a time. I have thought about writing a book, Ian. I just don't know what kind of book yet. And I did write one with my business partner Ick about the 5 stages of life, like about how to get out of being stuck or lost and stuck. I don't know what type of book I would write. It could be actually a big thing about digital transformation or personal transformations. I'm not sure yet. I have been thinking about writing a book, Ian. You're right. I have. I just need to eliminate a few projects because I'm getting overwhelmed with too many projects. That's why I'm thinking of cutting down the Wednesday late chat shows to possibly gaming streams once I get my build. Once I get my PC build sorted, I will probably start doing gaming streams on Wednesday evenings instead of late chat shows. And then the late chat show would only be on Fridays with love and relationships. Pour your knowledge onto the page. Yeah, I think. Thing is, again, is it my knowledge or is it a mixture of all the mentors that I've learnt from knowledge? Like everything that. And this is a conversation I had with Vin Zhang, another international keynote speaker that I got to interview on my podcast. He said if he was to write a book, he would call it the most fraudulent book in the history of the world. Because everything that he's learnt, everything that he teaches is all other people's content. All other mentors' content. He's just able to collate things that works for him. And I feel like that's exactly the same for me. Like over these years of personal development, working in digital strategy and businesses and things like that, I learned all these strategies and techniques from other people. Like I didn't come up with anything. I didn't come up with different strategies and my own strategies and whatnot, or my own methodology. No, I haven't. I've been using a lot of other people's. I may tweak things for other businesses. Some things may work, some things may not. Some systems work for some businesses, some don't. So it's a funny one, really. Is it really my original ideas? I guess that's part of my imposter syndrome kicking in as well. Is that what do you know, Jono, that you didn't just take from someone else? Like, is it my original idea, or did I just find it from someone else and just quote them in it? I don't know. It's a funny one. And even the processes that I have, I keep thinking, are these mine? Or are these just ones that I've learned from other people and just used? Nobody comes up with anything, man. The people you learn from have learned from someone else. It's true. It's absolutely true. But again, where does the original content come from then? Do we credit back to the original person? I don't know. I digress. I suppose I should get started with a book. Whatever that book would look like. It'd probably be like another... Who knows? I'm sure it'll come to me. My intuition will kick in and be like, this is the type of book you need to write. This is the type of book you could write. I suppose once I start writing, it'll come anyway. But yeah, I think I rambled on enough for tonight. I've got plenty enough to go with as well. But much appreciated, Ian, for sticking by me and supporting me as always. Much appreciated. And anyone else that's tuning in and listening, much appreciated your help and support. Love and Relationship Late Night Chat Show on Friday evening, 9:30 p.m. Any questions or funny things about love and relationships, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. But for now, see you. Have a lovely day, lovely evening, and enjoy yourselves. See you soon. Much love and peace out.